Thank you, Fred, for that. Away from that, Colonial Chief Odera Akango of Game Location is a man most remembered for his love for education. He is remembered for flogging parents who failed to take their children to school. In remembrance of Akango, Siaya County government has now refurbished his colonial cell and office, which will now be a tourist attraction feature. Kevin Ogutu tells us the story of this man who died over a century ago, but his works are still remembered.
A relatively quiet afternoon in Yala town, the famed headquarters of Colonial Chief Odera Akang'o, who was born around 1880s to Oloo Ramoya, of the ruling Kagola clan in Game, Siaya County. Until September last year, the Odera Akang'o cell stood its ground. It was, however, brought down by the county government for safety reasons. But noting its significance, the county government decided to put up this building that borrowed heavily from the original cell and office for posterity.
At the end of it, this is going to be a cultural center that is going to be a place where we will be storing the artifacts that were not only used by Chief Odera Akang'o, but other chiefs who actually came after him as well.
Akang'o is credited for laying the foundation of education in Game, an area that boasts of many educated men and women.
So when we talk about these highly placed scholars in the world, we think of Odera Akang'o.
During his heydays, Chief Akang'o constructed a private police force which was responsible for inspecting farms and to report any idleness.
When Odera Akang'o came back, he specialized in three key pillars. His three key pillars were agriculture, healthcare, and education.
We come from a clan that had traditional rulers.
Historian Professor Bethuel Ogot from Game, whose father was one of Odera Akang'o askaris during his time, faults his iron fist rule that will set him against the British officials. At the peak of the First World War, Odera Akang'o arrested a visiting DC.
This was too much for the British during the First World War. He was arrested by 1,000 people, taken to Kishimayu, which was still part of Kenya, for detention. So the rest of the people, up to 1918, he was in detention. Yeah.
In Umiru village in Game, we meet 50-year-old George Owiti Nyamwanga. He rummages through this bag containing vital documents, and one of the things he manages to fish out is this photo of his great-grandfather, Odera Akang'o. While Odera Akang'o is most remembered for introducing compulsory primary and secondary education, his own family did not buy the idea.
If he could bring that education, and I know what education is, and we, the grandsons, or rather the lineage of Odera Akang'o, none of them is a professor, unless those who are belonging to where our aunts were married and so on.
And while Kikuyu Nation are looking for freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi's grave, historian Bethuel Ogot has not given up on finding Odera Akang'o's grave.
He was released, the day he was supposed to be released from prison in Nairobi, they murdered him at night. And up to now, I'm still looking for where he was buried. Kikuyu are looking for where Kimathi was buried. I'm looking for where Odera Akang'o was buried.
Kevin Ogutu, KTN News.
Let's get sporty. Chelsea midfielder Kai Havertz scored 2 goals in Saturday's 2-0 Premier League victory over